I am live with Lex Luthor. That's your name, or is it different one?
It's
Because
technically Avellino.
yeah, so that's your fake surname. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sharing this now. That we are live and we are having chat. Because I think there might be someone with the questions. I saw
Yeah.
some
Absolutely.
questions about. I saw some questions about Chihuahua.
Heck yeah.
Okay, let's start it. Soon some people. If you want to retweet, it's there.
Yep.
On
Retweet it. I'm gonna
Twitter.
share it in the Discord too.
Oh yeah, like I will do maybe the Juno. You building on Juno, right? Or you spinning your own chain?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right now the whole marketplace is on Juno. As far as I
Yeah,
know, I mean, we were the first NFT marketplace on
yeah.
Juno, but there are lots who are joining the fray now. So
Um, but like I see you do some calisthenics. You're strong, right?
I'm trying not to get fat. I've got 3 kids, so not getting fat is another full-time
Yeah,
job. So
yeah. How many pull-ups? How many pull-ups you can do?
I don't know. Man. I don't. I just go until it hurts. That's the way.
Yeah. Have you been doing for this for long?
hmm Yeah, I've always done a lot of like movement-oriented stuff. I did some breakdancing as a kid throughout high
All
school.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Gymnastics. I coached gymnastics and cheer in college, and yeah, it's been this is a big part of
Yeah.
my life in general. Just gotta stay busy.
Someone is saying that they hear both voices 2 times, but I think you might have just open like two YouTube accounts or something, because I
Yeah,
think it's fine. Like
yeah.
people.
Give us a thumbs up, guys. If the drop a like on the video if the audio is
Yeah.
good.
So Lex, we actually met each other before. You might not remember.
Okay, tell me, where did we meet?
So the first time, uh, you had the meeting with
Right.
Sheldon
Yep.
Evans, Pedram, and the third
Yeah.
guy, and you were presenting your world to him.
Were you the
And
sneaky one with your video off, hanging out?
it was actually the Pedram video was like off. I
Okay,
was I
gotcha.
was on, but then in the image you guys replaced my face with Pedram face, because
Oh,
I was
weird.
doing, yeah, because I was
Yeah.
doing quite like other content. So like I don't really
Okay.
work for like your mom's house. I'm their
Right.
friend,
Right.
and we often chat. So they're replaced, but I was hanging out there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was the first time we meet. And
Yeah.
like, why they not come into Cosmos? I'm shilling the Cosmos space for Sheldon so
we
much
got
for
we got
Pedram.
Pedram here in the chat, and we got to hold them accountable to. No, I mean I totally get it. I love Sheldon and Pedram and what they're doing with your mom's house to nostalgia. I was
Yeah.
listening into the community call yesterday, and they just have the exact right mindset. I mean, I love hearing them talk about again, really, really the mission of delivering value, and I think that's very much in line with the Cosmos spirit. Um, I think honestly, if there's a way to incorporate Cosmos community in any project, this is something that I've found is that this community are some of the best long-term hodlers, right?
Yeah.
It's like you don't need as many people involved if they're Cosmos people, because the quality of the community here is just above and beyond what you get in other communities. So there's some trade-offs. Obviously, what's difficult is that I totally get some people have this kind of mindset of, well, the audience is there for Ethereum, right? That's where a lot of the mainstream projects are building. The problem is nothing is mainstream right now, right? Like nothing, everything, we're all this tiny little obscure bubble, and you're just
Yeah.
picking this tiny little piece of the bubble over this tiny piece, And ultimately, what we're trying to do at Passage, we're building on Cosmos because it's the best technology, right? And frankly, we believe it's the best community. But then also beyond that, um, we aren't really building for crypto people. We're building for a mainstream audience, right? We come from kind of the traditional media space where we're building out events for Capitol Records, Warner Brothers. Um, we've done virtual events for American Girl, Amazon, and there's a lot of really powerful opportunities building for mainstream audiences because you begin to see um, where there are roadblocks, right? If there's
Hmm.
any kind of roadblock getting into your experience or learning about what your whatever the experience is, then kind of a mainstream audience is going to point that out because
Hmm.
you're gonna run into more people who are having difficulty, right, adopting. Um, and so for us, Cosmos gave us the best opportunity to smooth out the whole experience, right? I think the Cosmos user experience is a lot better than Ethereum. So we have the best chance in Cosmos, I think, of bringing in not the rest of the crypto crowd, which is like 1% of the world, but the rest of the world, which is 99%, right? And I'm aiming for the 99, not just as much of the 1% as we can get. And again, I totally get it because in terms of like the immediate opportunities, in terms of like just strategy in general, people have different strategies. And so I sympathize deeply because it's really difficult to create adoption in the space right now. There's so much building that has to be done. There's so much groundwork to cover in terms of onboarding people into the space. And that's where the
Hmm.
passage technology, I mean, again, you've been in it, so you get it, right? Like there's something really compelling about being able to get into an immersive experience with just a few clicks, right? Without having to worry about like, have I downloaded the programs? Do I have the right compatibility or whatever? Things like that. So
Hmm.
I see Liam
The,
in the
the
chat, confident
Yeah,
crypto.
Liam is here. Nice to see you, Liam. Oh, thank you. And I see Nick. Nick, there is the question. I will ask this a little bit later. I think it's really cool question. But this is something cool you said because I even had Pedram on this channel, and because you said about like, oh, where is the community, and
Yep.
also you said cool thing and about the Cosmos community, because sometimes you might think that Cosmos community is just so huge, but you realize it just so loud. It's not necessarily so
Yeah.
huge, so it gives this fake view on the Cosmos community being so large. It's not. Everyone. There is Liam, there is Cryptocito, there is Lex at Passage, there is now Don trying to find its place, but it's all the same people, like the same gossips. Everyone knows everything. And when I try to shield Pedram to launch something, maybe on Stargaze, because I'm like, I'm a fan of Stargaze. I don't really know that much about Passage,
Yeah.
and we're checking some
Oh,
projects on.
Passage is a fan of Stargaze too, so we're all in the same camp here.
Yeah, like this is another cool thing. But then I'm showing Pedram some of the projects, and he's like, "Is 3,000 Twitter followers big one for the Cosmos NFT project?" Like he was
Right, right,
like, because in Ethereum the impact is so much larger. There's like 100,000 followers, and it's like
right.
basically we still do not exist, despite the it's really great user experience. The transactions are fast, the fees are so low. Tell me, how do we bring that impact of Ethereum culture to Cosmos?
Yeah, absolutely. So the impact of Ethereum culture, do you mean in terms of like bringing more of that audience in?
Yeah, how we can drag them into here? Like, is it the project? Is it like, we don't have that, right?
Build something people want. I mean, it's as simple as that. The problem is,
Mm-hmm.
if you're offering the same thing, incremental improvements aren't going to get anybody to enter a new ecosystem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, looking at things like, some of the alternative social media platforms that have come up, where it's like, we're Twitter plus freedom, or we're Facebook plus freedom.
Mm-hmm.
That's an incremental change, right? If people don't see drastic change, they're not going to adapt, right? And so, if you want people to enter a new ecosystem, you can't have incremental change. Like, hey, this is like an Ethereum PFP project, but with faster transactions and lower cost, whatever. It's like, great. It's pretty much the same thing, right? And when your the problem is we have a lot of those incremental changes, like the infrastructure is better. People aren't using as much of the infrastructure as we could be. So, for instance, some of the features, some of the things that could be features, like being able to trade NFTs or different crypto assets across chains, aren't really being used for NFT projects right now. I mean,
Hmm.
people aren't trading NFTs between different marketplaces. Like again,
Hmm.
the whole scene is really new, so you wouldn't expect that. But I'm just kind of like in terms of the infrastructure stuff, even some of the fun quality of life incremental changes that can exist on Cosmos aren't being used yet. Once we get there, there's going to be more reason for people to
Hmm.
change just for the ecosystem. But the problem is until somebody sees an actually a project that they want to be a part of that is like exceptional, they're not going to make the exceptional choice to jump from one ecosystem to the other, right? So, and this is the biggest thing is like you've got to build something different, and that is one thing that when somebody asked about kind of other Cosmos games, we can get into that, but I would just say as a general feature, I still think people are struggling to build something truly different. And part of that, I mean, I've talked about this in other places, but it's difficult because the people who, so if you're talking about NFT, a lot of people, when they're talking about NFTs, it's around the gaming ecosystem, which makes sense. The Passage, we're trying to leverage NFTs in a lot of different ways. Gaming is one element, but really the bigger elements are virtual events and remote workplaces. So like collaboration. There's a lot of ways that we want to use NFTs that kind of go beyond gaming. But even if you're just thinking about gaming, there aren't a lot of traditional game builders, people with previous gaming experience um, building crypto games or NFT games or blockchain-based
Hmm.
games. And so the people here, either they're new to building, right? And so
Scientists.
there's like less opportunity for success. There's less of an assurance of success because these people have not done this before, right? Now, because this whole space is new, there's an extent to which there's going to be certain things that are always new, building on a new technology. But the problem is you're taking such a big part, the whole ecosystem and flow of building a game. And a lot of people who are really blockchain people are trying to learn game building. So basically the synthesis of these two things, game builders coming into the ecosystem, blockchain builders becoming
Hmm.
more like game builders, that is taking a long time, right? Which is
Hmm.
why in a lot of ways um, it's slow for people to build something that is really different, that is really a complete game or has the
Yeah.
promise of being a complete game or what have you.
Yeah, so I see you at Passage. You have this vision, like, hey, we are trying to bring something different, but there is some concern. I always have concern. I'm the skeptic here,
Oh, I love it.
and
I love it.
especially in relation to gaming. And I was mentioning this when we first met. Actually, building games is expensive,
Oh yeah.
and most of the crypto gaming, I believe, is nonsense that will collapse. I will tell you what is one gaming metaverse right now that works.
Hmm.
This is Roblox.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
This is only one fully functioning the metaverse gaming, which
Hmm.
I believe maybe Passage wants to do something like this. But where will you get money to do this? Where will you get the human resources? Which maybe it's okay if you could talk about the how many people, if you had some maybe investment rounds, and how you will position yourself, especially now when we enter this bear
Yeah.
market and the money is tight. You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what we're doing. So we have a significant amount of runway ahead of us. For one, we had a lot of success with the first Strange Clan launch, and that was part of our funding for Strange Clan specifically. But then for the broader Passage ecosystem, we
So
did have.
if you don't mind, you can throw the numbers. So like how
Well, we
much you
raised
raise. Yeah.
the Strange Clan launch is totally public information. We raised about $2 million
Mm-hmm.
on that one, and so in terms of like, and especially considering like overall volume, I think Strange Clan is one of the most successful NFT projects in Cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously, big fish, little pond, but it's doing well, right? In terms of projects that have set themselves up for kind of a sustainable future, it is tough because a lot of projects they promise big, hey, we're going to do this big thing, but they don't really know. And this is the thing I really appreciate we're talking about in terms of cost. We've been building, production experiences for high-end professional teams for over 5 years now, right? So
Hmm.
we've been involved in kind of the production ecosystem for a long time, very familiar with build times, build cost, like the whole process that goes into 3D virtual production and the different layers of that, right? So
Hmm.
when we went into this, it was with 5 years of background, not specifically in games, but working around virtual interaction or interactive production, and working with Unreal Engine, working with Blender and different 3D software. So we have a long experience in product development and in 3D for entertainment. So like it's a really unique kind of niche. And so Strange Clan itself did very well, and we have very high hopes for the Town 2 launch as well. And then for the Passage private sale, that's not public information, and I'm not sure exactly how much I can release publicly,
Hmm.
um, but things have gone well. So we had a private sale for the Passage token, and we're kind of in we're kind of making our long-term bear market plans for like we have different events that are going to be producing income throughout the year, basically. So everybody, I think a lot of people know about the Rap as a Martial Art event, which is a hip hop martial arts event that's happening around December. And the idea there is that we're working with some really high profile influencers and entertainers in hip hop and martial arts. Some people have heard us talk about specific names like RZA from Wu-Tang Clan, who will be
Hmm.
involved. And our goal, again, is marketing this to mainstream audience, right? So we're trying to funnel opportunity in from outside the ecosystem, not just draining the ecosystem of the resources that are here, right? So
Hmm.
that's one way that we're creating long-term sustainability. And you'll notice those applications, right? So the events that we're doing a decentralized event next year, which is a huge EDM festival that's actually happening at Preston Hall in the UK. And we're doing the virtual side of that, these events, and then the remote offices that we're building for teams all around the world. Um, these are applications that produce income, for one, separate from games, right? Gaming, in some ways, like you said, it's a disproportionate investment to the return. Like there are potentially big returns if you get a good ecosystem going for a
Hmm.
game, but it costs a lot of money to create, right? It's a lot of
Hmm.
upfront costs before you have the funding, right? Um, Now that said, through the NFT launch, we've been able to reverse some of that, where obviously a lot of the funding comes in up front, but that's not necessarily the funding that's going to create the whole game. Yeah, RZA, we have him under contract for our event in December, as well as some other talent that we're working on contracts for now. That I mean, I'm telling you, in terms of the cultural influence, just as big. Big things happening. We're bringing in the people who are really the leaders in these cultural areas of hip hop and martial arts for their time. So lots of really cool things happening there. And again, our background is in traditional media and entertainment. So we have a lot of really cool relationships and experiences with the brands and teams that we work with. And we're trying to bring that value into the Cosmos space. So in terms of what you're talking about sustainability, yeah, I mean, that's something we try to be very, very mindful of, right? We've set ourselves a certain amount of runway, as well as having points of income along the way that are going to kind of sustain us long term as we build out revolving cycles of income, right? So the marketplace is one. Strange Clan volume in the marketplace has been incredible to date. We have done, I think, when you're talking about Atom sales in the marketplace for just the Strange Clan collection, we've hit about 5 million at the top in volume. And so there's a huge opportunity as new collections come out through these events, right, which are going to create income. Um, the marketplace with those assets, right, whether it's tickets that are being resold, whether it's assets that are used within the ecosystems, right, like digital customizations, or people actually buying. So early next year, people will be able to buy their own passage spaces.
Hmm.
There's a big launch that we're doing where people will be able to own a space that people can come in, you can hang out. Like there's going to be a whole community opportunity there. Um, those assets will be traded on the marketplace. And that creates kind of a long-term profit cycle for Passage to be able to invest in building these kind of unique worlds that add value to the ecosystem.
Hmm.
So those are kind of the different areas that we're targeting. Some of it is service-based, and it happens one time, right? Like these events. And some of it is ecosystem-based, like the marketplace itself, and will create long-term cycles of growth.
Hmm. And with the, with the money reserves, did you kept it in atoms, or you made sure you have US dollars on the side, cash, to
We've been very
actually.
good about de-risking our assets. So we're in a great position. Honestly, by the grace of God, in my mind, we have preserved the great majority of our capital, even throughout we had assets in UST like everybody else.
Hmm.
Um, but we ended up in a very great position just because of quick and thoughtful management from our CFO,
Hmm.
Peter, known as Lindstrom in the Discord. Um, and we're in a really good place. So just again, by
Yeah.
gracious providence and all of that, we're not smarter than anybody else, but just have been
Yeah.
sustained in a very powerful way. So
That's what I'm trying to ask. If we can actually in few years still have Passage 3D here, because if you will not have money. So,
yeah.
how big is your team? Are you expanding? Maybe something about the experience of your 3D artists
Oh yeah.
building the world.
So some people have noticed that some of the artists that we work with, so we have 17 in-house employees. So most of these are US-based full-time
Which is,
employees.
sorry, which grew. I think it was like 10 or 11 when I met you.
Oh,
So.
when we did the Town One launch, we were at
Mhm.
5 employees.
Right.
So we've tripled in the last 6 to 8 months.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, it's grown very quickly. But that said, not very quickly at the same time. We've been very thoughtful in how we've been hiring people because again, we're looking for sustainability and not just quick growth. Um, so we have had a really powerful balance of slowly hiring strategic full-time employees as well as managing external teams, right? So we work with teams all across the world, India,
Hmm.
Ukraine. We work with individual artists who are all around the world. And we've had some really cool partnerships. So again, because of our kind of background in entertainment, we have some really cool connections in the 3D production space. We're working with some of the same teams that work on projects for the big studios, right? So we're outsourcing with some of the same teams. So we're not we've never hired somebody on Fiverr, right, to kind
Hmm.
of hack a project together, right? We're working with teams who help to strategize long term. All of our partnerships are about long term fit with our team and people who can think strategically and have kind of proven their history with big studios like Epic, Square Enix, Ubisoft. The teams that we work with and our artists and designers and builders have all worked on huge
Hmm.
projects from Call of
Hmm.
Duty to Fortnite.
I want to learn, because I will get back to Roblox. I just checked, there are like nearly 5,000 employees just on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
obviously this is uh, different caliber, right? But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
what's the end game for Passage 3D? What's the vision, and how will you get to this vision? Will you be able to raise 500 millions at some point, you believe, have that deep cash runways, and what you are going to deliver to the people?
Yeah, so I think really it's funny. The long-term vision um, is interesting because it's really a world-building tool, right? It's not one game, it's not one project. It's about an ecosystem and really creating the tools for builders or creators of any kind, right? People who don't have technical experience to put
Hmm.
together a rich, immersive experience of some kind, right? And really, when you think about it, there's been huge growth in the creator economy over the last 5 to 10 years, right? From Facebook to YouTube, the opportunity for people to make a living as a creator, right? Where their contribution is organizing information or entertainment, or you know what I mean? I'm a creator, right? I make videos or these types of things. That has grown wildly, and there's something powerful about that. But there's going to come a point where, and there has come a point where the competition amongst creators is too big, right?
Hmm.
The supply versus demand is disproportionate, and ultimately, it's going to be difficult for people to sustain without being able to show some way that they can stand out, right? And I think Passage is the next generation platform that's going to set creators apart. Right now creators, I use the term content creators, and there's some confusion there because a lot of people think, oh, people making videos, right? Well, Passage is not a video distribution platform, right? I think of content creator much more broadly, and maybe the term world builder is actually more appropriate, where people who have a brand or an influence that they are, and they have a creative application, right? And with Passage, you have the opportunity to show your worth as a creator by building in 3 dimensions, right? Not just in video, but engaging with your audience in new ways by live streaming into a 3D space, by creating
Mhm.
exclusive access to different locations, and you can build much deeper layers of meaning to your communication, to the entertainment you're offering,
Mhm.
because you have a greater canvas to build on, right? And our goal is to make that process as simple as possible so that creators with all kinds of experiences can engage more deeply, can create more richly, and offer more value. Right now, this is everything from game creators to YouTube creators, right? Social influencers. We want people to be able to communicate with the same audience of hundreds of thousands or millions of people that they might reach, but do that on a more personal and deeper level, and be able to create connections between these kind of virtual worlds and the real world, because we always want to drive people back to more
Mhm.
human experiences. So that's really the long term. It's meant to be a platform and a tool set that begins to create connections between different worlds, allows people to build layers of interaction and meaning into the world that they're creating for their audience. And it will incorporate a lot of kind of like classic technology, right? Like streaming and things like that, being able to stream into a 3D space. People can come in and live stream your video in like a movie theater style experience where it's
Mhm.
just a fun premiere hangout type event, right? But also being able to go deeper with that and start to hang out on stage with your audience or have more live interactions, right, in 3 dimensions. It adds a lot of opportunity to
Mhm.
incorporate kind of the legacy platforms while at the same time creating a substantial advancement. The problem with some of the advancements we've seen in like content creation, like VR, is that they're huge barriers to entry, right? Getting a VR headset, having a VR capable system, right? That's all a huge barrier to entry that keeps the audience for that really, really small. Whereas Passage is targeting the widest audience possible by making sure people can enter these experiences through a browser, right? So it's a really interesting opportunity there. And I think that these initial worlds that we're building as examples, like Strange Clan, like Blockhouse for events, like the Passage virtual offices,
Mhm.
these are all really again, like I said, they're examples, right? This is meant to kind of set the course, but the biggest opportunity comes with Passage at scale when people start to see what's possible and other builders come into the ecosystem. And 3 Division, our studio, aren't the only ones building these experiences. That's really a big part of what's going to make Passage stand out. That's really a big part of what's going to kind of like be the future of the ecosystem, rather than just
Mhm.
us building all these experiences, being able to bring in other builders.
So essentially, you are mainly infrastructure provider for
In a big
for
way, yeah. We'll be providing infrastructure and in some ways setting an example. Like I think Passage will
yeah.
always be involved as a team in trying to kind of like pave the way, right? Kind of like,
Mhm.
break new ground. We'll be the ones on the bleeding edge, testing the latest technology, and showing people what's possible, and kind of in a way like having this really fun synergy between the other top creators on our
Mhm.
platform. By we're going to see ways where they outpace us and like, oh wow, they found a new way to use this technology we built that we hadn't thought of, but also trying to offer the same to the community. And
Mhm.
so we'll always participate in the ecosystem, I think. But I do believe that ultimately it is about infrastructure, because I think we need new tools, right? Again, like I said before, not incremental change, but a really dynamic change.
Mhm. I want to jump a little bit to the Scrunch clan.
Yeah, yeah,
There is a lot of speculation around this, a lot of hopes. I do think actually regarding the collectibles, this is one of, if not the most expensive collectible
yep,
within the Cosmos ecosystem. So I would guess there is a lot of hopes for this.
yeah,
So what I understand, this is the game. that is
Yep.
coming. Let people to interact, compete, maybe. So
Yep.
I want to just what is the Strange Clan? What you can do within the game, when the game will come out, the size of the world. Does it allow people to monetize this experience themselves as well somehow?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So ultimately, I mean, the whole concept of the Genesis collection is that people who enter the Genesis collection, for one, I mean, it's like you're becoming part of the studio in a sense, right? Like these are the people who are going to be the most involved in the ecosystem. They're getting a backstage pass to everything that we're doing, everything we're creating.
Mm-hmm.
People in the Genesis holders channel in Discord, meaning if you hold a Genesis NFT and you verified in Discord, you have access to kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff. They've seen stuff, they've had opportunities to be engaged with what we're doing at Passage at a level that other people haven't, right? Um, and so already, I think there's a culture around our studio and what we're doing that we really want to identify who are the people who want to be a part of this. Um, Not people who are interested in a quick flip, but people who really want and care about what's being produced, right? The game that's coming and the ecosystem. Um, and there is a certain amount of trust involved whenever you're getting involved
Mm-hmm.
at this level, making this kind of commitment before the product exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the video we just recently released that's pinned on the Strange Clan Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
um, that is just a marker of kind of really it's a fraction of what we've created thus far. We have a lot more actually that's in production that's not production ready right now. That's a fraction of what we've created so far in just the last 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a small sample. Yeah, exactly this of kind of what's coming and the level of what we can do. This is really a testament to the producers and our team, our production team, um, and what they've built. I mean, this is going to be a AAA game, right? We're calling it a multiplayer action RPG because it's not like your typical MMO where the idea is that it's not all about just having a bunch of people in and just everyone's kind of because I don't like this unnatural feeling where you've got like 50 people crowded around an NPC because you know they're doing the starting quest or whatever. Like that doesn't feel social. It doesn't have the natural community engagement that you want that we're trying to create a Passage. We call it a multiplayer action RPG because we're actually wanting to create kind of a new kind of multiplayer experience that feels organic, right? Where the world does feel full of real players playing the game, but at the same time doesn't have the kind of like artificial feel of an MMO, where again it's unnatural, right? The game element, the technical pieces are so transparent because everyone's huddled around this NPC or that NPC, or they're all fighting the same mobs or whatever it may be. Um, so again, we're trying to create something rich and organic, but it is an RPG style game. I mean, there's going to be progressions through different classes. We're inspired by a lot of classics from Zelda to RuneScape, and we're trying to create something that's a rich balance. Honestly, for us, some of the experiences that are really important are the co-op experience. So being able to have really unique balancing between different players, right? Something you might see in a MOBA or something like WoW or World of Warcraft, where different people are playing as different classes, and there's an important synergy between them. But at the same time, for us, also like really rich storytelling. Again, anyone who's been involved in the Discord or in our community knows that storytelling is really important to what we're doing because we want to create something that's a meaningful experience. And that is,
Mm-hmm.
again, one of the things where there's just a huge lack of brands and projects that have this kind of production experience where, again, they're familiar with taking a product from start to finish, but also they understand what is meaningful storytelling and engagement, right? How do you get people really immersed in a world and experience? And we've been
Mm-hmm.
able to do this in a small way with the Discord, right? Obviously, the ultimate fruition of this will begin to show more with the prologue experience, which is coming out. So again, another part of the value of getting in now is that we're looking to deliver as quickly as possible in the areas that don't detract from the long-term experience, right? We want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that the 3-year timeline for Strange Clan is really, really solid. And as long as that's secured, we also want to make sure we can deliver value along the way, right? So we have an egg drop this
Mm-hmm.
summer. There's going to be an item drop after that. There's going to be fun experiences around that where people are competing for higher level companions or mounts
Mm-hmm.
based on hodling, right? So there's going to be a lot of incentive for people to hodl assets, to hodl characters, and to stake the characters with their eggs and things like that. There's going to be a lot of really cool incentives along the way. And again, those are only available to Genesis holders for Town 1 and Town 2. And then for the prologue experience, the Town 1 holders get first access, but currently for the Town 2 NFTs still have an airdrop of passage tokens remaining, right? So there's a really interesting balance and value between Town 1 and Town 2. Prologue is set to launch early next year, right? Q1-ish.
May I ask you, when is the launch of the game?
We don't have
Rough date?
Yeah, we don't have an official. I mean, I've been using the timeline 3 to 5 years. It's kind of like the number I throw out there. Because ultimately we're building a AAA title, right? And so the prologue experience is meant to be a really cool storytelling device where you can do questing, crafting, and the get kind of like the fun storytelling elements of the experience, engaging and being involved in the ecosystem in a way that you're getting kind of a head start on the kind of the chapter 1 full 3D experience. But the prologue is very pared down, right? First off, it's a 2D experience. It's meant to give you a really fun kind of nostalgia and taste of where we're going with chapter 1, but be deliverable on a much shorter timeline, right? So there's kind of these really fun things we're trying to create to keep people engaged with the world and the story along the way. And we've tried to be really thoughtful in kind of how we plan these things out.
You still have the obstacle to keep the people engaged till the game release, right? That's
right, because it's great when you can get funding up front, right? But ultimately, it's like you want to keep people engaged because you want to deliver value. And for us, the first and foremost way that we do that is by being super transparent, right? So we do our GM tidings, which is our meeting in Discord every single day of the week. So Monday through Friday, and that's the first way that we keep people engaged, is just people know exactly what we're doing, right? The people who stay involved in the community, or anybody who's trying to catch up, can catch up really quickly because we're right here, right, live, ready to answer questions and things like that. And there's no other community that's doing something quite like that right now, that has that level of accessibility to the community. So that's unique. But then also, we want to create real, tangible events and experiences that people can get involved in along the way, like prologue, like the egg drop, and things like that.
I know you have to run in 5 minutes, but there's a few questions I want to pass. So what do you think about other Cosmos-based games like Cosmon?
Yeah, so I'm not super familiar with Cosmos. I mean, I love, I believe that's being built by the same people from, what is the really cool alternative crypto banking solution, Kai Foundation?
I don't even know. No idea.
Yeah, somebody drop it in chat. It's I'm totally spacing on. I believe it's Kai Foundation. I feel like I'm messing that up. Whatever. But
the Kai. They are from them. They are from them, I think.
Yeah. And I love those guys. They're just cool people, good builders. But again, I mean, there's this is something for you guys. Here would be kind of my rule of thumb. And it's difficult because early on, everyone's going to have a hard time representing what is the experience of your game. But the more abstract, like you tell me, looking at a project, would I want to play this, right? Is this something that I would enjoy playing if it didn't involve crypto, right? And could you have said that about Strange Clan early on? Probably not. Is it the key? So I think X key is the token, but I think it's the key or the Kai Foundation.
Key Foundation. Yeah. I'm not sure how they call, and X KI is the token. Yeah.
Right.
Another one. There is someone. What's your idea on the ability to handle multiple simultaneous users in a game running on a blockchain?
Yeah,
will this be a constraint?
This is just what do you want to include on the blockchain, right? If you're trying to include every game state on the blockchain, then you're going to run into bandwidth problems, congestion on the network. But for one, there's some really cool solutions to that. I mean, obviously, Cosmos in and of itself is a solution to that in terms of having sovereign chains and everyone owning their own block space. But there are ways to scale that. We're talking to different people and working on our infrastructure, kind of preparing for that exact opportunity to make sure that we can capture the most important elements of the experience on the blockchain. And the biggest part of that is transactions, right? It's a transactional element. It's not everything that's happening in the game. If you want to incorporate anti-cheat measures like that to be able to save stuff to the blockchain, there's cool ways to do that. And there's going to be continual optimizations. This is what's cool about having app-specific chains, that you can optimize a chain for the features that are most important to you, right? Whether that's the RPC infrastructure that you're using, or whatever it may be. So there's ways that we can optimize for that. I'm not concerned about it, because I think ultimately we're going to be able to capture the most important things. And it's really the same problem that Osmosis faces when you have the when people are claiming their tokens, right, or people claiming their rewards. There's the same problem that marketplaces like Stargaze face, right, where it has to do with just being able to optimize for the transactions that are most important. And mostly that's going to be people claiming NFT assets. One way that we've kind of solved for this is basically there's going to be at least in the prologue, there will be a system of like instead of having to pull out your ledger every time you collect an item, like you just got wheat or whatever, there's going to be a batching system where you'll collect the goods and then you will basically convert them into blockchain assets as a group, and that allows you to create a more efficient process and a better user experience. So there's a ton of ways to address that, and it's just part of the process of development.
Just really last question. Because I know there's some projects that were building within the Cosmos, and they were like really saying they're gonna integrate and maybe build something. And one of these kind of projects was Chihuahua.
Yep.
Do you know if they are actually doing something, or it just
We've been
like
communicating with the people that we can at the Chihuahua team. So we have our representatives that we're talking to, who are kind of organizing the Chihuahua passage world, and they're still committed. This conversation is still moving, and so I mean, I think obviously we've all seen when it comes to a bear market, right? The first assets to go are the ones that are the least productive or the most entertaining, right? Entertainment goes first. And everybody knows that the Chihuahua brand is really, in a lot of ways, a community brand, right? It's oriented around kind of fun and hype. But they are, from what I know from our communication with the team, they are invested in definitely we'll have to, for one, we can hop into the Strangeland world, Pedram. But we can also hop into Blockhouse is a big one that's been developing recently, and that's the one that we're going to be in for the event with Riza. So we'll hop into some passage worlds for sure. But in terms of the Chihuahua team, yeah, in terms of our communication with them, it seems like they're looking to add value, right? To create something that adds value, and from our side, we're the ones who are kind of managing the building of that world. So we can kind of give a certain level of confidence that it's going to be something valuable, and then it's just a matter of seeing how does this connect with the community, right? How does the community engage with this, and where's the opportunity there? So we'll see. And again, this is a unique stage of the market where a lot of this stuff is up in the air, and people kind of have to make their own conclusions in terms of as much as I think you can see a team with good intentions, right? I think it's very clear that Chihuahua has really good intentions. At least the people that we've communicated with. Not everybody in the community represents the same values. And again, with an open network like this, you have lots of different people who can contribute or be a part of that infrastructure in different ways. So again, some people are going to sell the rewards, some people are going to continue to stake and hodl. Again, it's just you get different people participating. But the people that we've communicated with, who are kind of leading the Chihuahua ecosystem, definitely want to create long-term value. So we're excited to continue building with them, and we'll see, what the community thinks when they actually are able to get their hands on it.
Okay, Lex, I know you have to run. You have some another meeting, so I wasn't packing like too many questions, but I hope we can do it again. And as you
Heck
said,
yeah.
maybe share some words
Yep.
and just share what's up with you. So
Oh, brother, it's a
enjoy your
pleasure.
day. Thank you for coming. I hope it's not the last meeting. I hope the people did get some information they wanted. So enjoy your day and don't work too hard, because you do seem like you're really pushing hard.
Oh,
Work
I
hard.
appreciate that. I appreciate
Yeah.
that, brother. It's a ton of fun. I love the hustle. I've yeah, it's all about balance. I really do appreciate that. And we'll have to do this again for sure. We'll hop into some passage worlds and we'll hang out some more.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Yep. Take care, brother. Peace.